Today, we are jumping right into a super important and, let's be honest, pretty complex topic: how caste, religion, and the law all get tangled up together in India. It's an issue that touches millions of lives and is constantly being debated, right up to the Supreme Court. So, let's kick things off with the big question, the one that this whole explainer revolves around. Can the religion you follow actually impact whether you qualify for caste-based reservation benefits in India? And the answer, as we're about to see, is a surprisingly clear and legally defined yes. To really get our heads around this, let's look at a recent Supreme Court case that brought everything into sharp focus. It involved a Christian pastor from Andhra Pradesh who belonged to the Madiga community, a community that's recognized as a scheduled caste, or SC. He argued that he should still have SC status, but the court had to decide, does his faith change things? And the court's ruling? It was absolutely definitive. They said that converting to a religion that isn't on the approved list means an immediate and complete loss of scheduled caste status. It doesn't matter what community you were born into. The moment you convert is the moment the law sees your status is gone. So why is the court so firm on this? What's the basis for this rule? Well, to understand that, we have to go back to the original legal document that started it all. And this is it: the Constitution, Scheduled Castes Order of 1950. You can think of this as the master rulebook. It doesn't just list which communities get SC status, it also lays down the conditions for who can be considered a member of those communities. And here we have it, the absolute core of the issue. According to that 1950 order, to be considered a member of a scheduled caste, you have to profess one of just three religions: Hinduism, Sikhism, or Buddhism. That's it. If your faith isn't on this list, then legally you're not eligible for SC status. But what's really fascinating is that this rule hasn't always been this way. Back in 1950, when the order was first written, it was only for Hindus. Then in the 50s, it was amended to bring Sikhs into the fold. And then, much more recently, in 1990, it was changed again to include Buddhists. This history shows that the law isn't set in stone. It can and has evolved. And that very fact, that the law has changed before, is exactly why this whole issue is still a massive ongoing debate today. For decades, there's been a major push to amend the law one more time. This debate, which is happening in the Supreme Court right now, really comes down to a few key points. On one side, you have petitioners from Dalit Christian and Dalit Muslim communities. Their argument is simple: changing their religion didn't magically erase the caste-based discrimination they face in society. But on the other side, the government has argued that faiths like Christianity and Islam have a foreign origin. And unlike Hinduism, Sikhism, and Buddhism, their core beliefs don't recognize the caste system. And this isn't just a legal fight in the courts, it's a huge policy question. In fact, the government set up a special commission back in 2022, headed by a former Chief Justice of India, to officially study this exact question. Everyone is waiting for that report. It could be a real game changer. Okay, so if converting out of one of those three religions means losing your SC status, is there a way back? What if someone decides to return to Hinduism, Sikhism, or Buddhism and wants to reclaim their status? Well, the Supreme Court has laid out a very specific path for that. The court has this strict three-part test, and you have to pass all three. First, you've got to prove your family originally belonged to an SC community. Second, you need solid evidence that your reconversion is genuine. But it's this third step that's often the trickiest. You have to prove that your original community has actually welcomed you back into the fold. And the court has made it really clear that this is a high bar. The burden of proof is totally on the person making the claim, and they need what the court calls unimpeachable evidence. We're talking about things like showing you've completely renounced your previous faith and have started following the customs and rituals of your original community. Again. Now, to really understand just how specific this rule for scheduled castes is, it is incredibly helpful to compare it to the rules for another protected group, the scheduled tribes, or STs. And wow, when you put them side by side, the difference is just night and day. For SC status, like we've seen, your professed religion is basically the gatekeeper. But for ST status, religion doesn't matter at all. What matters is your tribal identity, your link to the community's customs, and whether that community sees you as one of their own. So think about what that means. A person from a scheduled tribe can convert to any religion they want, Christianity, Islam, you name it, and they don't lose their ST status. The only way they would lose it is if, by converting, they completely cut all their ties to the tribe and its unique way of life. The focus is on community, not faith. All right, we have covered a ton of ground here: the law, a court case, a huge debate, and a really important comparison. So let's wrap this all up and boil it down to the key takeaways. So if you walk away with anything, it should be this: For scheduled caste status, religion is the key that opens the door. For scheduled tribe status, it's all about tribal identity. Getting back your SC status through reconversion is possible, but the legal standard you have to meet is incredibly high. And finally, this whole question of expanding the rules for SC status is one of the biggest legal and social debates happening in India today. And all of this leaves us with one final big question to think about. This law came from a very specific historical context, right? But society and people's identities are always evolving. So how should the law balance that history with the realities of today? That's really the question at the heart of this whole thing. Thanks for joining me.
You can download the complete notes of this video from the pinned comment below. If this video helped, do like and subscribe to the BriefCase for daily visual explanations.